are now live.
Good evening. Welcome to the Raymond School District number 14 regular school board meeting on this April 20th, 2026. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education and public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. This meeting is now called to order. It is exactly 6:30. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Natalie, will you do roll call, please?
Ed Robinson,
Here.
Jennifer Gonzalez,
Here.
Mike Powers,
Here.
Audrey Costa,
Here.
Keith Gessenson.
Here.
Great, thank you. Verification of public notice pursuant to 19.841 Wisconsin statutes.
Good evening. The meeting was posted in all the usual spots: schoolhouse doors, e-Virgin, Village Hall, online, and media were notified.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We'll need a motion to approve the agenda of this meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion? Well, we're gonna need to do this individually. So for A and B, approval of regular meeting minutes from 3/17/26 and approval of workshop meeting minutes from 3/2/26. Is there?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve the regular meeting minutes and the workshop meeting minutes from March. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we go to just individuals that will approve. Approval of the Personnel Committee meeting minutes from 3/17/26.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Personnel Committee meeting minutes from 3/17. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, the approval of Finance Committee meeting minutes from 3/11/26.
I move to accept the meeting minutes for Finance Committee for 3/11.
There's
second it, too.
Okay, and you'll second it too, okay. Motion carries. Next, we go to the review of election canvasser meeting minutes from 4/9/26.
I make a motion that I verified.
This would not be a motion. This is just a review. So if you want, you were there. If you wanted, you were the only board member present, and you're the clerk, and you were elected.
I verify the
Just a
counts.
lot going on. So if you want to just verify the count. If you
Yep,
want to
I
read
verify the counts.
Okay.
If I need to pull out my notes, I can tell you exactly what those counts were, but
that. Okay.
I verify those counts.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And then next we'll move to the financial reports and Jeff Genovese.
So I'm gonna just highlight some things. You've seen these for a bunch of months now, so I don't feel like I have to go through all of them, little by little. And then please feel free to ask me questions. So just a few highlights in the financial reports. If you go to the next page. So in the cash receipts, we received our equalization aid payment in March for $312,210, and our per pupil aid, which is $227.52, and a number of other things, including some PTO donations that were classroom purchases for first grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and then some snacks for forward testing or mints. And so PTO is pretty generous when it comes to a lot of these classroom purchases. So we definitely thank them for that. I transferred $370,000 into the WISC account, the investments, and you'll see that on the next page. If you scroll down to the next page. So we had two of our Fund 38 bond payments. One of them is from, it says Associated Bank. Scroll down.
Pass the checks?
It's on the checks.
It's on the checks, okay.
Yeah. So Associated Bank for $115,000, 937, and then we had one.
132,669?
Yep. So those are payments that are made to pay off those bond payments. And then if you scroll down to the next one. Keep going. So this is our investment account. We started with 1.4 million. I transferred 370,000. The interest for March was 37.47, and so I did transfer mostly for those bond payments of 432,669. So we ended March with a balance at the WISC account of 1.345 million. And then Fund 21, which is our student activity account, a number of deposits for concessions, the DC trip, senior breakfast, Camp Whitcomb, the Bunt Kink fundraiser. We thank Mrs. Edwards for that. And then some school store deposits. The balance sheet, you scroll down. Right now, how I'm using the balance sheet is a lot of those, the last column where there's ending balances. I'm starting to look at some of these. Ideally, at the end, if they're not an equity account, I'm trying to look to see if we can clear these out to zeros. Obviously, I'm not paying some things in the same month, which is why there's some balances on the end there. But some of it's just a big reconciliation in June. So nothing too crazy there. Cash flow, again, we ended March with 1.4 million. We had $635,000 in revenue, 173,000 payroll, 507,000 in AP checks, which most of that was our bond payments. And then if you scroll down to the next one, the comparison from March 2025 to March 2026, again, it looks like there's a big disparity, but then again, this is normal. Last year was a little difficult financially. So back on track, and then those visual learners, when you like graphs, there it is. Almost hit the $1.5 million mark, but not quite.
So we have quite a few people here maybe who are for the fourth grade presentation, which is awesome. But just to help them understand a little bit, cash flow is critical. And while we may have $1.3 million in the bank, it doesn't mean we're just sitting pretty and we're good forever. It means that has to last us because we only get one more or a few more distributions between now and August for paying our teachers and staff, correct?
Yeah, June and August.
But it gets, as you can see, very thin, October, November, December, hence the short-term borrowing that we do from Community State Bank.
Right. The monthly financial report, again, the counting's there. If you scroll down to the last page of the summary, that one right there. So the last table where it has the fund balance, so 624,000, even though we have 1.4 million in the bank, our fund balance is only 624 mostly because we borrowed. So it's like the liabilities and what we have kind of cancels some of that out. So the next page. So a lot of times you'll be asked, how is the budget doing? Well, instead of me just saying, oh, we're fine, this is sort of a more detailed spreadsheet of how the budget's doing. So I'm just going to go through this just because I think it's important so people can see how the budget is doing. So the first section here is the expenditures, so the expenses. What I have, this is linked to a complicated spreadsheet with a lot of formulas from all of our accounts. So salaries, what I have is I have projected, and this is sort of like the cash flow. Some of this would change based on what we decide to spend between now and June 30th. But for the most part, it's pretty close. So, for instance, the salaries I have projected, and then the budget number is the next column, and then the variance is the either like a positive or negative. So as far as my budgeted salaries, we're under budget by 83,000. Most of that is because we didn't hire some teachers that I had expected us to hire, not teachers, support staff. So that's Fund 10 and then Fund 27. So that's in blue, and that's the salaries. And underneath that, there's a percentage where it says 50% and 51%. So I had budgeted our salaries as 51% of our entire expenditures. So that's that first blue section, Fund 10, Fund 27, and then the totals. And then the pink section is benefits. So benefits includes taxes and retirement and health insurance and dental and all that stuff. So for Fund 10, right now I'm projecting to be over budget by 18,000 in benefits. Some of that I think is because there's someone that entered the health insurance that I wasn't expecting. But however, the special ed Fund 27, we're under budget as far as benefits go, mostly because if you budgeted for staff and it didn't happen, then you save some of the benefits. So the benefits under there, if you look, it's like I budgeted 21%. So 21% of our expenditures is benefits. So on the next piece right below that, we go up a little bit. So the percent of our budget that's salaries and benefits, the budgeted for was 72%. So 72% of our budget is salary and benefits, which rightly so because teachers are the backbone of the school, and it has to be it's just the way it is in most schools anyway. So high schools it might be a little bit higher, but for a K-8 I think we're pretty close. So then the next table is the totals of Fund 10 and Fund 27. So the total expense doesn't include the Fund 10, the Fund 27 transfer. It's a very confusing concept, just because whatever you don't get reimbursed from the state or other places, you're taking money from Fund 10 and putting it in Fund 27. But it's a sort of like a weird relationship that's not actual expense. It's expenses, but it's just budgeted expenses. So far, we might be, right now I have us at 74,000 under budget. It might change because we might do some purchasing of other things. Mike, can you scroll? Do you know where we are?
I was just on this one. The high
Okay,
cost.
go up a little bit more. Okay, right there.
Yep.
So it says Fund 10 high cost. So these are the high cost items in our budget. So essentially $1.1 million is insurance, transportation substitutes, energies, open and roll out, interest and vouchers. And then for Fund 27, our high cost is mostly transportation. And so that's 22% of our budget. So the last line is, so with the high costs and salaries and benefits, it was 95% of our budget, which means we have about 280,000 left over for everything else. Supplies, fixing the building, curriculum, computers, which 280,000 might seem like a lot, but it's really not. So some people say, well, budgeting is confusing. Well, your 95% of it is taken by all those big chunks. So it's very normal. It's not abnormal. It might be abnormal in our situation. It'd be nice to have a little bit more, but that's where we're living right now. And then the next page is just the revenues. Same concept. So local revenues are taxes, mostly. Interdistrict is mostly open enrollment. State aid is mostly like what we got today, or this last month, equalization aid, per pupil aid, and then federal aid. We don't get a lot federal aid, mostly for computers, and then sort of miscellaneous revenue. So it's sort of the same concept, and overall, for revenues, I think I'm a little bit under budget as far as revenues go, but it could change just depending on, you know, it might change depending on Path or Pride right now as I see it, so.
Say, Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah.
The state trust fund, are we just paying off interest on that, or are we also paying off some of the principal?
It's a principal and an interest payment.
Okay, so we initially started off at, I think it was 900?
So we have a 300,000, a 600,000, and right now it's 1 million.
Oh, it's at $1 million right now.
It's at $1 million right now. And that's the 2014 one. I forget what the original amount was.
There are three state trust fund loans. One was existing since 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Oh, okay.
And they all expire in 2034.
That'll be a magical year.
So we'll have a party,
Maybe,
maybe. So,
okay.
Okay.
I know I went fast, but you can ask me any question anytime.
Any other questions?
Okay.
We have a motion to approve the financial report.
Approve the finance report.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the financial report as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So next, we move to the student showcase.
Yes, you have been very patient for the longest 16 minutes of your life as you waited for us to get through financials. This is called adulting, kids, all those money things. Welcome to our fourth grade superstars. We have a presentation tonight courtesy of Ms. Radovich, and Ms. Weber sends her best. We've got a good number of fourth graders here that have been practicing, so I'll let them take it away. Fourth grade is a huge year for the state of Wisconsin. I personally taught fourth grade, so it's definitely my favorite to learn about this great state we live in. So they'll take it away and tell you a little bit, hopefully more than you know.
You want the speaker over there? Oh, wait,
You gotta just talk loud. Make sure you talk loud. You're on the camera. I'll turn the camera, sure. Okay.
We are the fourth grade class, and we are excited to share what we've been learning about the Wisconsin state flag and a special type of poetry called acrostic poems.
In class, we have explored the Wisconsin flag. Have you ever really looked at the Wisconsin state flag? It might seem simple at first, but it actually tells the whole story.
Yeah, the notes in the background is pretty plain, but the center is where everything happens. That big design is the state seal, and it's packed with meaning.
Let's start with the shield in the middle. It is divided into 4 parts. And each part represents a major job from Wisconsin's early history.
Right, like the plow. That stands for farming, which is still a huge part of Wisconsin today.
There's a pig and a shovel. Those represent mining, especially lead mining, which was really important when the state was first developing.
The arm holding a hammer represents manufacturing, basically building and making things.
And the anchor represents trade and travel on the water like the Great Lakes. On either side of the shield, there's a miner and a sailor. The miner represents lead mining from our early history, and the sailor represents trade and
Above all that, there's a badger. That's Wisconsin's state animal, and it's also why Wisconsin is called the Badger State, because miners came to southwestern Wisconsin to mine lead. Instead of building houses right away, many of them dug tunnels into hillsides or lived in caves to stay warm during the winter like badgers.
Above the shield, there's a banner that says forward. That's the state motto. It means always moving ahead and improving.
You might also notice a cornucopia. That's like a horn filled with food. It represents abundance or having plenty of resources.
And next to it are the 13 lead bars. They stand for Wisconsin's mining history in the original 13 states.
At the bottom, you'll see the year 1848. That's when Wisconsin became a state. So even though it looks just like a flag, it's really a snapshot of Wisconsin's history and the people and industries who built the state.
After learning about the flag, we connected our knowledge to writing by creating acrostic poems. An acrostic poem is a poem where the first letter of each line spells out a word vertically.
In our Wisconsin acrostic poems, each line might share facts or ideas about the state, like its lakes, wildlife, or state symbols. This helped us combine our creativity with what we've learned in social studies. We are proud of our work and excited to share our acrostic poems with you.
Hi, my name is...
Wait, there's more. Are they gonna each read them?
Yes,
Okay, where are we starting?
Bennett's fine.
Hold on, you're a little taller.
Bennett?
Good?
Hi, I'm Bennett. W is for the water spaniel, state dog. I is for ice fishing, many fish in our lakes. S is for soil, rich in soil. C is Camp Randall, Civil War training site. O is for Old Abe, Civil War. N is for Nicolay Jean, explorer. S is for spear fishing, Native American ways. I is for Ice Age shaped our land. N is for natural resources, all of our wildlife. Hi, I'm Ella. W, weather is cold. I, Ice Age built our land. S, soybeans, Wisconsin grows them. C, corn, grown in Wisconsin. O, our dairy land, Wisconsin. N, no other state has cheese makers. S, since 1848. I, in the USA. N, Native Americans. Hi, my name is Scarlett. W is for wheat. I is for industry. S is for state animal is badger. C is for corn is the state grain. O is for on Wisconsin, the state song. N is for Northwoods is an area to find muskies. S is for state motto is forward. I in Wisconsin. In 1848, Wisconsin became a state. N for now, Wisconsin is known for cheese. Hi, I'm Elena. W is for white-tailed deer found throughout the state. In 1848, Wisconsin became a state. S, sugar maple is the state tree. C, cheese is produced in Wisconsin. O, on Wisconsin is the state song. N, northern Wisconsin is where the muskie is located. S, state dog is the American water spaniel. I, ice cream comes from cows. N, northern lights can be seen in Wisconsin.
Hi, my name is Paxton. W for wood violet, state flower. I for ice age, shaped the land. S for sugar maple, state tree. C for trees, berry. O for on Wisconsin, state song. N for native tribes, native people. S for soybeans crop. I for ice fishing, way to fish. N is for Nicollet, found Wisconsin.
Hi, my name's Grace. Waterways used by native. In 1848, we became a state. State flag represents our state. C is for corn, state grain. O is for on Wisconsin, state song. N is for natural resources, trees. S is for state symbols, example wood violet. I is for ice cream from our many dairy cows. N is for newcomers, information brought from here. Hi, I'm Nate. Wisconsin is the 30th state and probably the best. In Wisconsin in 1827, Wisconsin had the letter S. Some major state symbols are the badger and the dairy cow. C. Cheese is a part of our agriculture. O. On Wisconsin is our amazing state song. N. Nation's dairy state for a reason. S. Some people call Wisconsin people Wisconsinites. I. In Wisconsin, we are big on farming. N. Nation's #1 cheese state.
Hi, my name is Bear. W, we are the Badgers. I, in Wisconsin, we rely on our farmers. S, state we became in 1848. C, cheese state we are called. O, on Wisconsin is our fight song. N, nothing will stop us with forward as our motto. S, 72 counties we have. I, in Wisconsin, we have an abundance of dairy products. And new beginnings every day.
That's it, all right. Great job. One more round of applause for our board. W, we appreciate you.
Thank you all.
Very good job.
Yep. I learned something. I have
Yeah.
a Wisconsin flag and I didn't know all those things meant that.
Me neither. I don't even remember 4th grade.
Mrs. Radovich, I think you're gonna have to teach us more about the Wisconsin flag. That was awesome. Good job. Yeah, I learned a lot. Yeah.
There'll be a test.
And thanks, everybody, for coming.
Yes, thank you, parents.
That was really cool.
That is. That was very good. Yeah, it's good for the kids too,
Yeah.
to stand up in front of people and do that. That's great. Okay.
Okay. We move on to the public portion of the meeting. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any topic that is posted on the agenda are required to complete a public input form before the beginning of the meeting and submit it to the board clerk for consideration. Jenny, do we have anything?
There are no public comments requested.
Okay, all right. So we will move on to district business. And first is the mathematics curriculum proposal. And Mrs. Marty?
Yes, so in your packet, you should see the ABS about that. We've had a few meetings, we talked at the workshop, we talked at curriculum committee meeting, and I think just about everyone has gotten their questions answered. So with that, we're really happy that our team came up with some recommendations that everyone's in agreement upon. So we ask that you approve our adoption of Bridges for K through 5, and then Math and U for 6 through 8.
I'll make a motion to approve Bridges for K5 through to fifth, and resources for sixth through eighth. Math and new resources for sixth through eighth.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendations as proposed by Dana Marty. Are there any other questions or anything to Dana before we vote?
I actually would like to just, I was very impressed with how you included the teachers and even the students in getting feedback. I've never been on a school board, but I've talked to other people who have, and the way you went about this was really impressive to other schools even. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the mathematics adoption recommendation for using Bridges resources for K-5 through 5th grade and math and U resources for middle school grades 6 through 8. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I just want to point out a couple of things too. The $280,000 that's left over that Jeff was talking about in our budget, if you look at the hit on this one, just the curriculum costs for this year one are pretty large. It does taper after that, but just to point out that $280,000 doesn't go very far. So it'll be used for our kids, which is the most important thing we can do, is get them a good curriculum in front of them with skilled teachers and help train the teachers, and that costs money. So thank you for all of that. And then, Ms. Marty, if parents have questions about this adoption or anything regarding curriculum, really for any curriculum we teach.
Feel free to give me a call or email me.
Yep.
Yep. I'd be happy to.
How many years does this go good for then?
So we're on a 7-year cycle.
Okay.
So we'll be set for a good while.
Okay, good.
On this subject. And then we move on to another subject next year.
Every year we review a different subject. So next year,
Well, so next year it happens to be STEAM and then world language, but that's okay. We do offer some world language, and so we can look at other options and do all that. And Zoe's pretty excited about her STEAM review.
Good.
all right.
Okay, good. Then next is the staffing update.
Yes. It's always a bittersweet time of year because you start to see, people's decision-making processes and people decide to either stay in the profession or head to other opportunities in their lives. So this is the time of year for retirement approvals. So it is with great pride, but also a little bit of sadness because she's been here for 25 years. Stacy Stock is an 8th grade teacher here who will be putting in for her retirement and requesting retirement approval tonight as a result of that request.
I make a motion to approve Ms. Stock's request for retirement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the retirement of Stacy Stock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to thank Ms. Stock for her years of dedicated service to Raymond family. 25 years at a school is a very commendable thing. And she also, being my son's teacher a few years ago, so I got to know her before I even got on this board. She was a good teacher here, and it's good to see that she's going to enjoy her retirement.
Well, we wish her the very best.
In addition to that, vacancies then, of course, are created because of retirement and other staffing things as we look at scheduling for next year. We currently have 2 vacancies posted for middle school, one for replacement of Ms. Stock's position, and then a second one for a position that is restoring from last year based on the need for us to shift some resources around. So we have 2 vacancies. We're in the process of interviews right now. We had 20 applicants for the 2 positions, and we have whittled that down to 15, and then we whittled that down to 7. So here we are at 7, and we'll be going through our interview process, which will have 2 more rounds involving the final round will involve live teaching in front of kids, real kids, because that's what you do every day here, and that's the most important thing we need to watch. So we're excited about that, and looking forward to trying to replace the skills of a very highly skilled teacher in Ms. Stock.
Okay, thank you. We move to C, the staff handbook approval for the 2026-27 school year. Jeff?
So over the weekend, I'm sure you had a fun time. It's long, and hopefully I made the changes understandable. So the changes were blue struck, and then any additions were in yellow. I'm just going to go through some of the bigger highlights, and if you have any questions at the end, feel free to ask me about anything. I don't want to say I have it memorized, but I've been looking at this for a long time. Just a few of the highlights. First, some of the bigger chunks. So you don't have to go through this necessarily, but there is on page 16, there is FMLA language there in the old handbook. There's a lot of complexities to FMLA. There's Wisconsin FMLA, there's federal FMLA. So to just sort of take some of the language of FMLA and put it in the handbook, it's a little unusual. So essentially, it's just if you're planning on, it's family medical leave. If you're planning on medical leave, then you contact administration, and then I walk them through all of the leave. So that's a little bit of a reduction there, because there is Wisconsin FMLA too. If you've never heard of it, it gives them more time for the serious condition of a pregnancy, and if you need more time, Wisconsin is very generous when it comes to FMLA. So page 31, you'll see a big strikeout for the grievance procedure. The reason for that is because the grievance procedure was different than what's in board policy, which is weird. So I struck out the language that was in the handbook and I replaced it with what's in board policy. So the grievance, so they match. So it just makes sense to the grievance procedures match board policy. Page 40, there's a section in bereavement. There's a lot of districts that say you get 1 day to, bereavement day for an uncle or a cousin, but you get 5 days for a parent. I honestly don't even think 5 days is enough for a parent. And some people have been raised by their cousin or so if your uncle, and if your uncle dies and you get 1 day, that's kind of ridiculous to me. So we all agreed that to make the bereavement language more less is more type of thing, give anybody the time that they need. So it's more advantageous for people than, specifying who's important to you. And then page 48, there's a definition of the teacher work day to more define it as an 8-hour day. There was some other language in there that we thought was a little, it was hard to, the day at Raymond is a little unusual because most of the, we start at 7:25, but you don't want to get here too early because it's pretty early. And then the school day ends somewhat early and you have, 45 minutes or 40 minutes left over. So a lot of the teacher work can be done, at the end of the day. So that's one of the reasons for that. Also in WRS, you have to define it as an 8-hour day, and I want to make sure that teachers are a full FTE. And then page 54, there wasn't a lot of definition of dental coverage. The health coverage language changed a little bit to define it a little better. There was nothing about cash in lieu. Cash in lieu is giving staff members a payroll. It's essentially more money if they don't take the health insurance. I did lower that. Right now it's $5,800. I lowered it to $4,800. One of the reasons is because I pay $4,500 in cash in lieu per pay period, and that's essentially 2 teachers. You have to give them something, but we wanted to add a teacher this year and change a few things. So I don't imagine that will go any lower than that, but it just needed to be a change this year. They also get cash in lieu for dental. If they don't take dental coverage, they get extra money for that also. None of that was defined in the handbook, so I added it, along with long-term disability and life insurance, just to define those a little better. Page 58, there was a sick leave accumulation from 70 days we changed it to 100 days. One of the reasons why is because it's harder for the district to keep paying out at the end of the year. You know, you only really have to be here for 5 years to get 5 or 6 years to get 70 days. So it's a more of a burden on the district. It also had some ambiguities in the language where it said they can choose an HSA or a 403B. Fairly certain that sick time is a weird complicated taxable definition, and so putting it in a 403B makes more sense because eventually it's going to be taxed. So that was a change for teachers. That was teacher specific. And that also affects their retirement later, which is on the next page, which is 59. So most districts before Act 10 had something called a Fund 73, which is you know, teachers or staff members get benefits after they retire. And so it was a big burden to districts. And so we still have OPEB benefits. So paying teachers after they retire, and the problem with that is that it's you know, it could be 100. Raymond doesn't have a Fund 73, so you're basically paying as you go. So if we would have done it properly, it would have been in a Fund 73, and you would have gained interest and you're saving for people's retirement. Right now, it's sort of a pay as you go. So what we did is we grandfathered all of those teachers that are either 50 years old or have 20, I think it's 20 years. So if they're 50 years old and they have, you know, 15 years, work another 5 years, they're still grandfathered in. So the language, most of that language didn't change. I did change a little bit to make it advantageous for those teachers. They had some weird language with after 10 years or after they get $15 for their sick day. That's kind of stupid to me. So changing it to 100 days for $100 a day when they retire. And then the other section is there's something called a funded HRA where it acts. So essentially it's a calculation of their highest paid year and their FTE, their how many years they've been working in the district. It's contributed to something called a funded HRA. So a funded HRA can be paid for, you can pay premiums when you retire. So a lot of teachers retire before they can get health insurance. They can use that retirement HRA. It's theirs to keep forever. The only caveat is if they pass, then that money goes back to the district. It's a weird thing, I know, but most of the time, I've never seen that yet, that, you know, they'll use that money in retirement for their health insurance. In Medicare Part D, I have 2 elderly parents and a grandmother that's 93. They definitely could use that, you know, so they will be used. But instead of the $55,000 in a 403B, the language changes to, it's essentially a $20,000 to $29,000 contributions to their HSA or HRA, and that's done at the end of the year, and there's nothing, they get all of their money right at the end of the year. So there's no budgetary issue after they leave. And they don't have to worry about, you know, people in my position that leaves and it's been turned over and someone didn't make the right contribution. And so that's one of the bigger changes in the handbook, is that grandfathering those teachers in and then changing that benefit to get rid of the benefits after they retire. And then some other language things, page 64, how you define emergency school closings and how people get paid. There's a big section on that to change it. The language wasn't enough in my opinion. And then page 66, we added, for some reason, hourly employees get 3 sick days, and that's not a lot. So we decided to change that from 3 to 8. So hourly employees will get 8 sick days, and it will accumulate up to 60 days. And then page 67, there's a lot of full-time hourly changes, so vacation. Right now we only have 1 full-time hourly person. but in the future, we might have more. And then, so there's a lot of changing of what a full-time hourly position is and what their benefits look like. And then the last section is the admin section. We're defining all the benefits and defining, you know, vacations and stuff like that. So most of the time, the people, administrators and administrative support that have contracts, a lot of it's in their contract, but not everything is. And then changing the sub pay from $140 a day to $150 a day. So I know there's other changes besides that, but those are the bigger ones.
I'll make a motion to approve the employee handbook for 26-27 school year.
Second it.
We have a motion to approve the employee handbook for the 2026-2027 school year, effective July 1st. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, that's no fun labor, but I feel like it's important, and I don't anticipate larger amounts of change next year because it's pretty cleaned up, so thank you for the work and our admin team. Those are some good conversations we had, as it took about 3 months to review all of that. We did 10 pages at a chunk, so good to have that on our checkoff list.
Hey Jeff, does the state provide some guidelines for these handbooks that you have to abide by? Or are they pretty much independent?
So the WASDA has a template. So this is it's basically based off the WASDA template with some changes. Some of the, so not necessarily. There's a lot of other things that are not in there that other districts have too. So not necessarily.
Okay, all right, just curious. Thank you.
Okay. We are members of the WAC conference, and the next item on the agenda is our WAC conference approval. And it's really just, we're anticipating being in the same athletic conference in the future here, and that's the standard agreement that's been presented. We need to have the board sign off on tonight. So we're looking for an approval and a signature.
Motion to approve membership to the WAC conference next season.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the membership to the WAC conference for next season's athletics department. Any other questions?
Who made the motion? And who second? Thanks. I distracted her.
What kind of charge is involved with this?
There's an initial fee. I'm not sure offhand what it is. It's nominal for each school to put in. I think it's $1,500. That pays for the general oversight of the organization, and then each school pays out for their home events for referees and things like that. So.
All right.
So we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to the overnight band field trip approval. Mike, will you give us a little
Yes, we have
intro to that?
had years now of a very great growing tradition here with Mr. Cole. It's the band festival that is held in Wisconsin Dells for 7th and 8th grade students. It's the highlight of many students' year as they get to stay at the Kalahari and play their instruments with a little bit of swimming, or I should say swimming with a little bit of playing their instruments.
Right.
So the idea here is that 56 students, and actually pretty cool this year because Mr. Cole has shared with, between us and North Cape, we're actually bringing 8 North Cape students from their band that would otherwise never be able to attend this event. So they're coming as well, which is pretty cool. And they're staying in separate quarters and all that, but at the same time, it's just a great opportunity because of the shared staffing there, so they're really excited about that. Mr. Cole just is looking forward to it. Mr. and Mrs. Cole both go, sort of like an extended dysfunctional date night, I guess, with a bunch of kids looking at you. So they're looking forward to it, and just wanted to make the board aware and get approval of that at this time. And it's paid for by largely by our PTO, as well as some cost on families.
I'll make a motion to approve the band competition trip.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the band competition trip as written on the request form. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Cole, for their dysfunctional date night.
That's right, that's right.
I
yeah.
know Mr. Cole really enjoys the band. I get to pop in there every once in a while, and he does a really good job with kids, so I wish I had that when I was.
He's
there.
built a lot of buzz around our program, which is great, so, awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Next up is our Neola policy read number 2.
It's our second read, so we are not going to read in all the different numbers. I know Mike's excited about that. As you can see, though, we had a large batch, 35-1, that was read through. There's an Act 57 annual component. There's a number of other policies related to activities and things that we've had to look over. So this is the second official read, and looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve all the policies read in the record from the March meeting and as listed in the board packet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve all the policies read from the March meeting and that are listed in the board packet. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move to committee reports. First is curriculum.
I'll take over. Can you hear me okay? I don't need the microphone. I was at the last curriculum meeting where Dana and Mrs. Radovich were there, and, sorry.
Goodrich.
Mrs. Goodrich were there.
Lots of riches, Radoviches and riches.
Yeah, a lot of them. But anyway, it was very enlightening and seeing the changes that are going to be made. And I know I even talked to my son Tanner, who was in 7th grade, and loved the new program as well. I like that it's getting back to workbooks even for the older kids. And they did a presentation on some of the different lessons on how the kids adapt and how it moves to every year. So it was really cool to see. And I'm happy that it's done and decision has been made.
So is Miss Marty.
Yeah. She did a really good job. I mean, I think the teachers, Mrs. Goodrich, can you tell us about the teachers and how, have you been in the curriculum discussion before?
I have before, yes.
Okay.
When we brought big ideas here too. But it was just really unique to be able to try. It's a lot of work, but you piloted 2 different programs or a program, but then you talked amongst yourselves about what did you like about it, because you're at a different grade level and trying different lessons. And it was, a few of us happened to do the geometry, which worked really well because we saw how it spiraled from one grade to the next because we were all in the same unit per se. So it was just a neat experience and kind of gets you excited again for it because when you see something new coming through, it's fun.
Yeah. And can I ask how the kids reacted? Did you tell them it was a pilot program?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and they got to fill out the survey to indicate what they liked or didn't like about something, so they thought that was pretty cool too. But just to hear their comments and listen to them in the classroom talk math, and just, oh, math is over already? It was just, they enjoyed it. They
Good.
enjoyed it, and seeing the different components of the different programs.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting my report.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, next is facilities.
Facilities, that's really tough.
Oh, we don't have one. We didn't have one in March?
We did not, no.
Okay, so it will be on April 28th.
Correct.
Okay, coming up. If I would have read that, I would have known that. Okay, next is finance.
I have nothing to report because I wasn't there.
Jeff did a very good report today.
Yes.
Good.
Thorough report, Jeff.
Okay. Personnel, meeting was held on March 17th. I think that's you, Jenny.
I know.
That was our handbook review,
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Yes, we reviewed. I'm like, what did we do it?
which we just went through very thoroughly as well.
She's all excited about the curriculum. Forgot about the person.
And we were there. Yes, we did go through the handbook, made comments, talked about the handbook. I know the prior years, I think the teachers had more to do with this, so I was actually gonna ask that question during that review.
Sure.
If teachers were also involved in this.
They were in the fact that we had a lengthy discussion at our professional development.
Okay, good.
And presented it, and then there was opportunity for them to
Comment.
share. I did also kick it out to a few people who have kind of had an interest along the way, so we're trying to be as collaborative as possible.
Perfect.
I did make one change from some feedback that I got at that meeting too, so.
Thank you.
What was it?
So there was, the piece where, in the grandfathered piece, they still only had 70 sick days. And there were some staff members that had an arrangement for 100 sick days, and I thought it's a little bit unfair, so I just gave everybody 100 sick days instead of the 70, since we changed it from 70 to 100. So it was in their benefit.
Okay.
We're trying to get away from one-off side deals.
Yes.
It's hard to have that and sustain that, because people can produce, and it's, in all fairness to everyone, you should have the equity on that, so.
Okay, thank you. Policy.
Well, we
That's
passed all
it.
the policies now.
There was no meeting.
We're all caught up?
We're good. Just waiting for the next one in.
Summer.
Summer, yeah.
Okay, that's it for committee reports, administrative reports. Dr. Leach?
Yes, PTO auction was absolutely amazing, exceeded expectations, done very well attended. I'm hearing a number north of $40,000 that was raised, which is even more than last year, and last year was a record-setting year. So tremendous effort by a very small group of people, staff included in the help that day, and just, it's neat to see it all come together. Another thing that's nice to check off the list once it comes and goes, but we're looking at already next year's auction, and the generosity of the community around us with sponsorships, and we had, I think it was $16,000 of just cash donations prior to the event even occurring. So that's part of the total of 40, but 16 came in before we even did anything. So it was pretty awesome to have that, and a good chunk of it is going to be allocated to future playground fund and some other projects around the building that we're looking at. So we're just very appreciative. We have a tremendously talented PTO, very, very good collaboration this year, and it's been great to see. Senior breakfast, we had 4 of them. Last was the senior lunch. We had 75 people show up at that, which was pretty awesome. We combined it with kindergarten, showing off and doing activities. So once we get the captive audience with grandmas and grandpas of those 5-year-olds, we got them. They're the doors. So we brought them in, and they just did a great job with an activity around science. And then the adults had to follow directions given by the kid, which was pretty cool. And one community member made a pretty powerful statement that her husband's dealing with some health issues, and she just said, having him here, having him out of the house and doing something, and listening to this kid way more than he listens to me as his spouse of 50 years is way more important. And it was neat to see, and that was a very powerful statement. We are looking to have senior breakfast again next year. I want to shout out to our 8th grade crew. Wesley's a tremendous manager of the moment. He does a great job cooking. I'm not sure if he cooks at home, but we have a great crew of 8th graders that just took the lead, and then they teach the next generation, so 7th grade coming up. So Tanner's going to be in charge next year. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but we'll work on that. But the idea is it's a generational thing, intergenerational. So next year we're looking to have senior breakfast as well. We'll have the schedule out soon. And then 8th grade promotion, hard to believe we're only 8 weeks away from that. Our 8th graders certainly feel like it right now. They're saying goodbye in their own way. And so our parents are doing a great job. They've had 4 meetings already about the events. They're going to be having a separate, private, paid for by the parents, hoedown at a location that's not here. That'll be before the graduation, so they better do all their homework that week after they get back. But they'll have that before the graduation, and then the day of the graduation, they'll have the ceremony and promotion, and then they'll have cupcakes and juice and stuff after that. But they wanted to have a kind of a 8th grade shindig for the kids. So they're doing that, and then they're also on the 3rd of June, they're going to Action Territory for the day for their 8th grade trip. And it's paid for pretty much by the 8th grade parents. So tremendous effort there.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Mrs. Marty, Teaching and Learning Report.
We had professional development Monday, Friday, what day is it? Friday, okay, Friday, and we just kind of are trying to figure out how to kind of wrap up the instructional year. So we met in our professional learning communities, and they talked with each other and looked at the type of assessments we've been giving all year and decided, are those assessments meeting our needs for the kids? Are we getting good information? Are they fair? All of that kind of stuff. So they reviewed those things. We talked a little about procedural things, and then the teachers had some time to work on some of their plans for next year, so they enjoyed that. And then I just wanted to say the math, everyone that was on the math committee, and that was Melissa Chadwell, Shelley Karen, Jenna Dalzin, Diane Vogie, Deb Kostrava, Katie Fueling, a lot of people, Melissa Weber, Sue Goodrich, Michelle Edwards, and Tricia Kessel. They just did an amazing job, and they had a lot to do. They had to try out new programs and do the training and figure them out and go to meetings and visit people, but I really do think it's what's going to make this successful is their hard work and their input. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Any board comments?
I'll go along with thanking everyone that did the senior breakfast, lunch, whatever we want to call that. It was a very good time. The teachers kept everything going with the little guys. Ed and I got to be artists drawing flowers, which was quite interesting. I was going to let my wife just do it, and I was told, no, I have to do it too. So our pictures are all sitting on the front table, or was that refrigerator right now? So it's good seeing everything going on with the school right now. I know we're kind of getting towards that end of the year wrap up, but it seems like everything is going really smoothly. Kind of missed being here for lunch hour and seeing the kids. I know they've been coming up and asking me every time they see me for 5 seconds, when you coming back? So let them all know that I kind of miss them too, but kind of busy also with all the storm damage.
Kind of miss them, I gotcha.
Kind of miss them. And, but I hope everyone after last week's storms, I know I've been very busy cleaning up messes all over the place, and I hope everyone is safe. And seems like we got kind of lucky and missed out on a lot of the real bad damage.
Anyone else? Well, I just want to say another thank you to the curriculum group that put all the efforts into updating our math curriculum. It's a lot of effort that goes into that, and I guess I didn't realize how much it does. So thank you all for the work and effort that you put into that. Makes a difference in our kids. And that's all I have. Our next board meeting, our board workshop will be Monday, May 4th at 5:30 p.m. And our regular board meeting will be Monday, May 18th at 6:30 p.m.
If I may add too, on the 4th, that's the lottery for open enrollment, as well as that will also be our reorganization meeting.
Okay. All right. At this time, the board may convene in closed session according to Wisconsin Statutes 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Specifically, employment contract discussions for all professional staff and administration. The board will leave the cafeteria and convene in closed session in the main office conference room. The board will return to the cafeteria for our regular session meeting upon completing the closed session. Is there a motion to move to close?
I make a motion to move to closed session.
Second.
A motion and a second to move to close. Natalie, will you do roll call, please?
Ed Robinson,
Yes?
Jennifer Gonzalez. Here. Mike Powers,
Yep.
Audrey Costick,
Yes.
Keith Cassinson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are now in closed.
And
yes.
I'll end the live stream then, and we'll head into closed.
Thank you all.